Welcome to Sports Mag. CU took on K-State this weekend. We'll see how that went.
And we had hockey slapping away against Kansas this weekend as well, but Kansas coming right back.
And there's Alex Booth slamming it down, and there's Amber Sutherland doing the same.
Don't go away, we've got Sports Mag right now. Hi, and welcome to Sports Mag. I'm Luke Rosemeyer, sitting alongside Russell Cunningham.
Nice to see you today, Luke. So, the University of Colorado football team took on the Kansas State Wildcats, and we got some highlights to show you guys. Roll it! And there you go. So, it was Parents' Weekend at the University of Colorado. There's Mr. and Mrs. Chip. Here comes Ralphie. I can't do it as well as the announcer does, but Ralphie came out leading the Buffs onto the field. And here is Rodney Speedy Stewart breaking a hole, and he makes a 22-yard rush right there. He had big plays all day, and he has big potential every time he touches the ball for a little package. Now, that's not Cody Hawkins. Our camera guy checks. No, it's not. It's Tyler Hansen, former redshirt freshman, now true freshman playing quarterback. That was a nice rush, making quick decisions, not getting set. That's what we like to see. Here, he is under center again, faking the handoff, rolling out, looking to pass, but he decides to tuck it in and make a run. That's a nice play, and that's not going to have much problems when you're not making mistakes, not fumbling, not throwing interceptions. Cody Hawkins back in the game, heading off to Speedy Stewart, cuts up the field. That's a touchdown. Buffs up 7-6 at this juncture of the game. Nice run by Stewart. CU fans are loving it.
Now we got the fantastic freshman Tyler Hansen back in the game, looking to pass. This time he hits Pat Williams on a rope to the sideline. That's a first down. Later in the same drive, Tyler Hansen dropping back once again. This time he's looking for Scotty McKnight, 21 yards and a touchdown. That puts the Buffs up 14-6.
That was just a beautiful pass.
Definitely. K-State fans not looking too happy at this point.
It's a sweet hat, man. I love it.
Colorado fans are loving it. But Josh Freeman, K-State quarterback, he's not going to be denied here. He goes for 17 of his 42 yards on the day and a touchdown, puts the Kansas State Wildcats behind by only one, but Colorado held on for the win.
You see final score 14-13. Tyler Hansen 7 for 14 with a touchdown. Speedy Stewart ran for 141 yards. It was a good game overall.
That's a good day for the team. Now let's see what Dan Hawkins had to say.
Mark, I thought, did a good job of just simplifying a little bit for Tyler so that he could use his legs. Obviously, you have to have some throws in there. I mean, he knows it all. He's a very smart kid, but I think it also speaks to the kind of camaraderie we have on our team. It's not something that you want to do necessarily, but we talked to Tyler. I mean, it's not something we would have made him do. We just said, hey, how do you feel about it? And he didn't hesitate an instant. I mean, he was on it.
All right, it's good to see the Buffs back on the right track. Now we're going to see what our double team analysts had to say about the game.
That's right. Kai Cummings and Adam McPherson are eagerly awaiting you guys on the double team set. Take it away, guys.
All right, thanks, guys. Welcome to Double Team. Alongside Kai Cummings, I'm Adam McPherson. And obviously, we've got to talk football because a lot happened against K-State that no one was really expecting, mainly at the quarterback position. What
Exactly. I mean, we have a redshirt Tyler Hansen coming up. I mean, he's a freshman, right? Just like all the young players on this team. But Coach Hawkins talked to him before that game and said, you know what, we might play you in the KSU game, so get ready, prepare yourself.
And I thought he did just that. And it's really unusual. You see these position guys, these running backs come off redshirt freshmen. You see your offense or your defensive guys come off redshirt, but you don't see a quarterback come off.
Quarterback position.
And I'll tell you what though, it was an interesting move for two reasons. One, now you lost a reasonable eligibility, but he did a solid job here. You're watching him right here. He's not afraid to take a hit against a KSU line like that. That is extremely impressive. The big catch that I was really impressed with was, we saw him run up quite a bit, but he wasn't afraid to drop back and throw either.
No, he wasn't. He was looking very poised in that pocket, especially for a freshman, especially for a redshirt freshman just coming off the bench. He was running a minimum amount of plays, though. That's what you got to remember. He's not running the same play set as Cody Hawkins is. Cody Hawkins is given this huge playbook, because he's comfortable at the quarterback position. But here, Tyler Hansen, minimum amount of plays, but you know what? He ran all those plays perfectly.
And this play, final right play right here, I just want to make a point about this. That's the first time this kid has ever run that play. That was a
Exactly.
Cody Hawkins, designed for Cody Hawkins.
Exactly.
But I'll tell you what, he pulled it off and he did a great job. Now, here's the big question that we have to ask is what do we see later on between him and Cody
Down
as
the
starting
road,
quarterback?
I would probably see that we're going to see a lot more split time between the two. I don't think Hansen's going to start yet. I mean, it's really not that big of an issue right now. I mean, the team just wants to win. Basically, the team just wants to win. It's playing out, right? And if it's Cody Hawkins at the helm or if it's Tyler Hansen at the helm, it doesn't really matter. I think they're going to split time. I think Hansen's going to see a little bit more playing time, especially more than the K-State game. But still, he's a young quarterback. He might get in trouble, especially at away games in front of different crowds. He's not used to that big setting, especially that big setting.
Well, especially against Mizzou. Now, I don't care who you are, coming in against Mizzou, that's going to be tough.
It's going to be
now,
huge.
The one thing, though, and you were saying you thought you see Hansen take more reps, I would agree with you on that, but I still see Cody leading this team. And, you know, he's got the poise, he's got the experience, and he is able to make plays. You know, like we said earlier, Hansen was able to make plays because he was running that basic playbook. Now, this is, you know, Cody's been struggling with the offensive line. That basic playbook, that's what that offensive line was.
You do have to remember, though, that Tyler Hansen, yeah, he's a freshman, but you know what? He's an athletic kid. He's 6'1", you know. He's got a pretty good build, you know, but still, he's a very athletic kid. He was running that play, like you said. He was not afraid to take a hit, and he was certainly not afraid to give a hit, and that's very special, especially in a freshman at this level.
Well, especially in a freshman, especially a team that, let's be honest, after this week, they're back in the Big 12
Back
race.
in the momentum. This is a momentum swing.
Now, look, we got to look at things that happen in the Big 12. You know, yeah, we're 4-3, but we're not out of the runnings quite yet. We have Kansas losing, and we have Mizzou losing.
Yep.
What does CU have to do to get to that Big 12 championship?
So basically what I think that CU has to do, they have to keep winning. I mean, they have to take this game, use it as momentum, just keep working for them. You know what I mean? They have to probably beat Mizzou, I would have to say. It'd be a very, very big step up to beat Mizzou. But they'd have to beat Mizzou. I mean, we got Iowa State, we got Nebraska at the end of the season. But then you don't have to forget about Oklahoma State. They're undefeated as well. So we got a pretty tough road ahead of us. If we stay winning at least 2 or 3 more games, I think we'll be pretty good.
Well, and like you said, that road starts this week against Mizzou. That is a must-win, I think, for the Buffs.
Yeah.
If they don't win that game, Mizzou's gonna have to lose 2 games down the road.
Exactly.
Their schedule's not as challenging as it has been up front. You know, playing teams like Texas.
I wouldn't bank on it.
But you know, again, it starts this week. It starts big time with the quarterback situation. I think they're going to be extremely powerful with that 2-quarterback system.
Exactly.
O-line starting to get things going. These young guys.
They're starting to realize the injuries have hurt them in the past, but you know what? They're starting to play as a team again. You saw that at KSU. They're running it much better at KSU. So I'm really excited to see what the Buffs have in store for this week.
Right. Now, and let's look at that. You know, we're talking about, you know, the teams they have to beat. But what have you seen from game 1 to where they are now in terms of what have they built on? What do they still need
I've
to do?
seen a lot of team maturity. And you know what? In this type of season, you know, you're going to win games, you're going to lose games, especially in a tough conference like the Big 12. But they've taken each win, each loss to heart, and they've tried to work hard. I mean, they get in the weight room pretty much every day. They work as a team. And I think they really emphasize that, especially on this Colorado team. How young they are, whatever you want to say, I think that they've really matured as a team, grown as a group, and that's very impressive.
Absolutely, and I think, you know, the big team chemistry, the big team maturity we saw was this weekend.
Yep.
Cody Hawkins said it a couple times this week. He doesn't, you know,
Doesn't
Hansen
care.
started. He got the job done. When Hansen threw that first touchdown pass, Cody was the first guy out there. They want to win. They're a cohesive unit. They're going to get things done.
Like I said, exactly. They're maturing as a group. They're wanting to play with each other. I mean, they're going to want to win games. And so, you know what? It's just, all in all, they're looking very strong.
It all starts this week at Mizzou. This is all the time we have. We're going to send it back to the desk.
Thanks for the great analysis, guys.
Coming up after the break, we've got the infamous CU Sports Mag trivia question.
And I believe we have some more volleyball, too. Stick around, guys.
Someone once said, we all come into this world alone. And we leave the same way. But in between, we have the chance to connect and help each other. To find ways you can do something to connect with the people in your community, call the Points of Light Foundation at 1-800-VOLUNTEER. Volunteer. Get connected.
It's my birthday. Oh, it's so pretty. Oh, I told you, don't be bringing that weak stuff in here. Yeah. Who's the man? Who's the man?
Exercised lately?
Wide receiver Scotty McKnight has been an impact player so far this season. His touchdown catch against Kansas State supplied the game-winning points to bring the Buffs to victory. That's why Scotty is CU Sports Mag's Athlete of the Week.
Touchdown, Colorado. Hansen to Scotty McKnight.
It was the last touchdown of the game, so I mean it was kind of early, still in the first half, but our defense did a great job and kind of stopped them so they didn't score at all, and gave us just enough room to where our offense did, just enough right, and so we could pull through with the victory. So it was kind of a play in practice that we knew that was probably going to work against them if we got it in the right situation, and when Tyler got in there a little bit, we just kind of worked it out. And so it was a play where I don't know, kind of acted like I was going to block and then ran up the sidelines. But the funny thing is Tyler never ran it with me in practice at all. It was always Cody. And then when we got into the game flow and Tyler was playing a little bit, they decided to leave him in there. So he did an awesome job, put the ball right where it needed to be, and really came through.
Awesome.
I'm Scotty McKnight, CU Sports Mag's Athlete of the Week.
Thanks, Scotty. Sports Mag's Andrew Tomasini set out this week to see what CU students thought about the Buffs' newfound quarterback situation. Let's take a look what he saw.
Today we're outside the UMC and we're talking to students about last Saturday's game versus Kansas State. We're going to try to get a feel of what they thought about new quarterback Tyler Hansen's performance and also the ongoing quarterback situation as a whole.
I thought Tyler's performance was really impressive. He seems to have the same skill, but I don't think he can read the plays quite as well as Cody can yet, but Cody can help him out with that.
Tyler Hansen's performance was pretty good. He ran the ball pretty well.
I thought he did a phenomenal job. I was really impressed with what all he was doing, and I mean, personally, I was just proud to watch him go.
I think he did a great job. He's a freshman. It'd be scary, and he did a good job.
I'd like to see, probably Hansen, I'd like to see him throw the ball more.
I kind of like the mix-up. They both bring a different aspect to the game, honestly. I liked watching both of them.
I think I'd like to see Tyler again, see how he does, and depending on how he does, maybe Cody can come back, but I think he should get another chance.
I think Tyler Hansen did really well at the last game, but I still love Cody, and I think he should be given another chance.
As you can see, the CU student body was pretty impressed by Tyler Hansen's performance versus Kansas State. And although they're not ready to call him the starter just yet, it should be interesting as the weeks play out. We'll see what happens this weekend in Missouri. I'm Andrew Tomasini for CU Sports Mag.
Thanks, Andrew. In a nail-biting game of 5 sets, the CU volleyball team came out with a victory, defeating Iowa State Cyclones on Saturday. Every game was close, and with both teams fighting hard for the win. But CU had what it took to get the breaking sets. Seniors Alex Booth and Amber Sutherland both recorded 17 kills that the Cyclones just couldn't match up with. CU also totaled 17.5 blocks, making it their season best. Booth said the game was the most intensive match she had played this season.
The Colorado volleyball team fell to Missouri in 3 straight games on Wednesday night. Amber Sutherland led CU with 13 kills, while Callie Webster stepped up on defense with 19 digs. The loss puts the Buffs at 10-9 overall and 4-6 in the Big 12. Colorado's next game will be on the road Saturday against Texas Tech, who are still winless in the Big 12.
As we are approaching the end of October, and we have an important anniversary for Colorado sports, which is bringing us to this week's trivia question for October 27th. 1969 is an anniversary of what great athletic tradition? Stay tuned for the answer of this great trivia question.
All right, coming up after the break, we've got a special interview.
Yeah, I can't wait to see who it is. I mean, it should be pretty cool, I guess.
I'm excited.
Stick around, guys.
Let's sit down for a second, okay? So
Hey, Kayla, there's Mary from your class.
Hi, Mary. Hi, Kayla. Come and play.
Oh, sweetie, sweetie. Why don't you go play with those kids over there?
Why?
Imagine the power of one voice. Find yours at freedomcenter.org.
One of the reasons lions roar is to warn threatening bachelor males from other prides to stay away from their young. Here, a lion cub gets a lesson in proper roaring from its father. Teaching this behavior is not just crucial to the pride, but also to the survival of the species. Just a reminder how important it is for fathers to spend time with their children.
Welcome back. The 15th ranked CU women's soccer team seemed to do everything right last Sunday afternoon against the Iowa State Cyclones. Everything, that is, except scoring goals. Despite offensive domination, a 110-minute battle with the Cyclones, the Buffs played to a 0-0 tie. CU outshot Iowa State 12-5 in the first half and alone finished with 32 shots on the Cyclones. Junior forward Nikki Marshall recorded a game-high 8 shots, and goalkeeper Kristen Relinski picked up a season-high 6 saves. With the tie, the University of Colorado is now 12-2-3 overall and 6-1-2 in Big 12 play, remaining first overall in the Big 12.
All right, Sports Mag's Amanda Blackwell sat down this week for a great interview.
Yeah, she caught up with one of our varsity coaches, and we'll see what she had to say right now.
Well, hi, and I'm here with head soccer coach Bill Hempen. And first of all, Coach Hempen, thank you for being here with us today.
Happy to be here.
Okay, well, let's just start from the beginning. You played soccer in college. Why did you decide to continue that on and make it a career?
Do you want the real story?
Sure.
Actually, my degree's in education, and I really didn't set out to be a soccer coach. When I graduated from the University of Evansville, my coach called me and had a spot for me if I wanted to be a graduate assistant at Northeast Louisiana University, which I took that opportunity, and that led from one thing to another, and it's turned out pretty good for me.
And you basically helped to start the Duke University program. Why did you decide to take on that big of a project so early on in your career?
While I was at Duke, I was an assistant men's coach at Duke University in 1986 and 87. The men's soccer program at Duke University was very well respected and very well embraced by the community. They'd get very large crowds. And it was basically Duke basketball, Duke soccer, Duke football, as far as how things went in the pecking order. When I got to Duke in 1986, the men won a national championship, and it was the next spring that, actually it was the next summer, that the head coach and I were coming in off the field from a camp session, and there was a note on his desk to go see the athletic director. And he said to me, he goes, "I think I know what this is about." And he went to the office, came back about 20 minutes later and said, "Well, we're going to start women's soccer." I said, "Oh, great." And they want you to be the coach. I said, "Okay." And we were off and running from there.
And let's talk about the Colorado program a little bit. When you came here, they hadn't put together a winning season yet. How did you take what you learned from starting the Duke program and apply it to really turn this team around?
Well, I basically started over, kind of all the battles that I fought for 15 years at Duke. I started back at year one here. There was very little base for building a solid program here. I remember asking Mr. Tharp, explain to me again why there's a baseball field on campus and no baseball team, and yet there's a soccer team that you don't have a field on campus. And he scratched his head and said, "Yeah, we probably need to do something about that." Once I got my fingers on Print-Up Field, we've now turned it into our home field. We have a nice scoreboard. We have locker room out there now. It's not perfect, but it's a lot better than what we had.
Okay, and you mentioned you do have 2 small children. How has what you've learned from coaching applied to being a parent?
Well, it's all the same. You just have to approach it a little bit differently. As far as how you communicate, I think communication is the #1 thing. You know, we tell our girls all the time, don't think you know what I'm feeling. Come and ask me, because most of the time it's a lot different than what you think. And it's the same thing with my children. I said, hey, Emma or Lucas, work with me here. Talk to me. How can I make this better for you? And so in a lot of ways, it's been great, because it's a different level of patience on both ends.
Is there anything that you've learned from parenting that you have applied back to coaching?
You know, my son likes to play sports. My daughter likes the theater, a 3rd grade theater major. And the constant there is, are you having fun? And I try to make our training sessions, and I hope that our kids have fun, because at the end of the day, it is a game, and games are supposed to be fun. And that's probably the #1 thing I've taken from being a parent into coaching.
Well, it seems like your team's having fun right now. They're nationally ranked. You are coming to the end of your season here, but what does the end of the season look like for the team, and maybe even the future?
This year, you know, we're on track to do some things that we've not done before. We beat Texas at home a couple weeks ago. It's the first time the program's ever beaten Texas here in Boulder. You know, we're on track to have the most wins at the end of a regular season. You know, so there's things for this class to improve upon, and you know, those are some of our goals. When we set out, we wanted. I can state now that we wanted to be a Big 12 champion. We've put ourselves in position for that. We still have to take care of business, but we're farther along than we were a year ago, that's for sure.
Okay, well, thank you very much for being here today, and we wish you the best of luck with the rest of your season.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thanks a lot, Coach Hempen, and keep up the good work. To see the full run of this interview, go to www.cusportsmag.com and click on the videos link.
Last Friday, the CU varsity club hockey team took on the Kansas State Jayhawks in an early season matchup at the CU Rec Center. The Buffs started the game on a good note, scoring in 36 seconds into the period as senior Kevin Applepart beat the Kansas goaltender Brett Pitts, giving CU an early lead. But the Buffs would add another goal midway through the first to take a 2-goal lead, but Kansas would come dominating back in the game, scoring 8 goals. The Jayhawks would score 2 late in the first and then add 8 in the fourth. In the next 40 minutes, the Buffaloes could not stop the Kansas offense. The hockey team bounced back on Saturday as they beat San Jose 8-0.
The CU women's tennis team finished play in the Intercollegiate Tennis Association's Central Region Championships this past weekend in Salt Lake City, Utah. Singles players Melissa Esposito and Francisca Gendrian met in the consolation singles finals, with Esposito coming out on top 6-1, 7-6. It was Esposito's 50th career singles victory, while Gendrian reached 72 wins for her career, putting her 13th on CU's all-time win list. The tournament was hosted by the University of Utah and included players from in-state rivals CSU and Air Force. The tennis team's next hits the road in November for the San Diego Invitational.
Colorado's cross-country team was in Indiana last weekend for the NCAA Pre-National Invitational. The men's team finished 9th as junior Jordan Kyle led the Buffs with a 7th place finish. Kyle posted a time of 23 minutes and 39 seconds over 8 kilometers, which was the best for all Big 12 runners. Sophomore Laura Tweet finished 86th to lead the women's team, 20th overall, and the cross-country teams will be back in action on November 1st for the Big 12 Championships in Ames, Iowa.
Coming up after the break, we've got the answer to this week's trivia question.
I know I'm waiting, and we have Kylie with weather also. It should be pretty sweet.
You know, we sing for millions of girls, but helping out in schools, that's the real deal, baby.
I know our love can multiply, 'cause you're the X and I'm the Y.
I'm the cute one, you know what I'm saying?
So, have you ever been backstage before?
Okay, guys, this is an abacus. It's an old school calculator. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Like the circle and the square, our geometry is a perfect pair.
Now, why should kids know about gravity?
Well, gravity holds them down.
I once was one, but now we're two.
I'm spinning out of control.
Oh, God. Children believe what their parents tell them.
You're pathetic. You can't do anything right.
You disgust me. Just shut up.
You can't be my kid.
You're worthless.
Hey, stupid, don't you know how to listen?
You're never going to amount to anything.
Why don't you go find some other place to live?
Words hit as hard as a fist. Stop and listen to what you're saying. You might not believe your ears.
I wish you were never born.
Take time out. Don't take it out on your kid.
Don't you love that safe, free feeling you get in a pickup truck, Larry?
Yeah, nothing but you, me, the open road, a deer.
Yeah! A cow! Yeah! An ostrich! The village people! The village people?
You could learn a lot from a dummy. Buckle your safety belt.
Especially in pickup trucks.
I didn't know the village people were doing a road tour.
Now back to the trivia question. Just to refresh your memory, the question was, October 28th, 1967 is the anniversary of what great CU athletic tradition? And the answer is the debut of Ralphie running across the field. This took place during the homecoming football game against Oklahoma State.
So I hear it's going to be a nice weekend.
Yeah, we're going to toss it to Kylie Burst for a weather report.
Let's see.
Thanks, guys. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the weather for this weekend, both here in Boulder and in Missouri. So taking a look at the national map, you can see Boulder's looking pretty good. We're in the clear for this weekend, maybe a little bit of clouds. Once again, I'm a little bit worried about up here in the Oregon-Washington range. You can see the blue stripe with the points going down. That's a cold front that may sweep in earlier next week. Taking a look at Missouri right here, pretty clear. I'm not too worried about that either, maybe a little bit of clouds. Taking a look more so at the temperatures, you can see Boulder is looking like they're a little bit colder. The purple means it's about in the 30s, so not so good. However, I feel like that's only when it gets to be dark outside. As you know, when that sun is out, it is several degrees warmer, if not 10 or 15. So taking a look right there, surrounding Missouri is going to look a little more in the 40s range once it gets to that darker part. Now let's take a specific look at what it's going to be like in Missouri. So you can see here, it's raining on Friday right now, so 50 degrees, not so good right now, but looking into Saturday, it's looking a lot nicer. We might even get into that 60-61 range during the day. The game's at 4:30, so by the time the game's winding down, we're going to be hitting into those lower temperatures. So make sure you bring a jacket if you are heading over there. Taking a look at Boulder now. You can see, as always, it's looking very sunny and beautiful here. It is going to be partly cloudy, so maybe not the best weather to be sunbathing out there in, but it will be one of the last weekends that you can really get out, go hiking, and do what you want to do without a big winter coat on. So that's a great thing. Take a look at the Flatirons right here. I highly recommend getting out there. As you know, the tradition is it snows on Halloween, which is next weekend. So make sure you get out there, take advantage of the beautiful Colorado sunshine. Say good luck to the bus before they head off to Missouri, and have a great weekend.
Thanks a lot, Kylie. But that's all the time we have for Sports Mag this week.
Yeah, thanks a lot for stopping by, and go to cusportsmag.com to get more extended interviews, great sports stuff, and it's all right there. So thanks a lot, and we'll see you next week.